Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight for the Perimenopause and Menopause Q&A session. I'm Shell Bailing, and I'm a mother of a 23-year-old young woman, an entrepreneur, and an advocate for natural alternatives for health and longevity. So tonight we'll be covering all four of the top questions on this subject. So let's get started. My co-host this evening is Margie Hare. She is also my business partner, and we have been working together now for just over a year. Margie is a lymphatic drainage specialist therapist. She is also a Tai Chi and Qigong instructor and an activation health warrior. Her motto is take charge of your health naturally. So welcome, Margie.
Well, I must say thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with all you girls from New Zealand across the ditch, and of course with Sharon, who's from Melbourne. So I've been with LifeVantage for 6.5 years now, and I was introduced to the product, and I almost could say I was forced to take it because I was so ill with Lyme disease because I was bitten by a tick. I thought, well, if I don't take it, what then? Because I'm not getting any better. And I'd been sick for 9 months, so I took it. And what this amazing product does, it reduces oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. It gets rid of inflammation in the body. I didn't even understand 6 years ago what oxidative stress was. That's why I am an absolute pioneer in terms of being a warrior for better health, taking charge of your health now. So it is my great pleasure to share a little bit about Sharon, who's going to take this away because she is the specialist in this area. I've known Sharon for 4.5 years, and we've had the wonderful opportunity of traveling together, laughing together, crying together, doing all kinds of things together. And she is a laugh a minute. We have lots of fun times together. But behind that is this very serious and dedicated clinician, and she knows a lot about a lot of things to do with women's health and hormones. So Sharon spent over 20 years in the corporate world before her health forced her to reevaluate her priorities. She's now a wife, mother, and integrative women's health coach specializing in menopause, weight loss, and natural anti-aging solutions. She's passionate about helping busy women who want to regain calm and be in control, so they no longer have to struggle with feeling run down, burnt out, exhausted, and overwhelmed. Isn't that a great place to be? Sharon, so wonderful to have you on the call tonight.
Thank you, darling. We have had such fun times, and it's so great to be here and to spend some time with you guys. Some of you I know, some of you I'm meeting for the first time. So yes, as Margie's, before I go on, please excuse my voice. We had so much fun in Brisbane that I came back and promptly lost my voice completely for a week. And this is kind of what's remaining. And this is actually really good. I seriously had like no voice. We had that much fun, Margie. As Margie said, I was forced to reevaluate my health. I think that happens to a number of us, especially women. I won't go into the depths of it apart from just to say that I got to a point where I instinctively knew I had to change what I was doing. And I was lucky enough to be in the position where I actually changed virtually my whole life. I quit my job. I went and studied something creative and beautiful that I was passionate about. And I healed sufficiently that unexpectedly at 39, I fell pregnant. And what happened subsequently was I had a beautiful baby boy. We moved to Melbourne. My mother died. And the stress of all of that unraveled all of the healing that I'd been able. And of course, God, for those of you who have kids, I mean, they suck it out of you big time. And just pregnancy and the birth itself. I had a great birth, for my maternal age. Anyway, so I went through a very early menopause, and it was horrendous. And we kept trying to have more children, and I kept having miscarriages, and my doctors never seemed to pick up that I was in menopause. So my menopausal experience was, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was about 15 in the fact that it was just bloody awful. Did a lot of things in my life, and then got to a point where I was introduced to the world of wellness about 15 years ago. As Margie said, about 4.5 years ago, I came across this company and these amazing people. And Lordy, I wish I'd known about this a long time ago. I also wish I'd known a lot about what we're going to talk to you in the next coming slides. So Margie, I believe you're asking me the questions. Let's go, babe.
Okay, so the first question, what is the difference between perimenopause and menopause?
This is something that's often people use it interchangeably, and that's not quite right. Perimenopause is the time leading up to. So it can be anywhere from 1 year to 10 years. So you can have 10 years of fluctuating periods, mood swings, sweats coming in and out. That can, to varying degrees. Then menopause is generally defined as the date 1 year from your last period. Now, that is the general rule. I was talking with a girlfriend of mine the other day, and she'd been without a period for 2 years. I thought, yay, I'm postmenopausal. And then she had a period. So it is a general, I know, Michelle, I know, she was not happy. It is a general rule, but that's roughly what it is. And then 12 months to the day, you're in menopause. And then kind of basically the next day, boom, you're in postmenopause, which is where I am and have been for 15, 16 years. And one of the reasons I am so passionate about aging solutions and looking after yourself is that nobody talked to me about what happens when you go through menopause, what happens when you are postmenopausal, and all of the health impacts that brings. And as we'll go through, menopause is in and of itself an aging event. Think of it as puberty's ugly older sister. So it's the same thing as you're coming into puberty. Your hormones are fluctuating generally like crazy until you get through that period and you reach womanhood. And basically, if you think about it, strip everything else away. Women are designed to procreate. So our whole system, our whole body, our biology is set up to do that. So menopause is just the other end of it. We've done all of our breeding and all of that kind of thing. And then we enter the next phase of our lives, which is generally the matriarch, the maven, the crone, whatever you want to call her, where typically in tribal senses, we were some of the most powerful in the tribe because we had the freedom and the strength and the knowledge and the wisdom to pass down to the women of the tribe, to look after the children, to take on other roles because we were no longer there to breed. That makes sense?
That's a great explanation. Thank you, Sharon. I have another question. Why am I gaining weight, especially around my belly, even though I haven't changed my diet?
Well, this is a huge topic and I can be incredibly passionate and talk for hours on this. So I have kind of got some notes here just so I can try and keep on track a little bit more. This is a big answer. A big question, I should say. Think of it, most women, when they get to their perimenopause years, which is usually, let's say, in their 40s, sometimes into their 50s, but let's just say the 40s. So by the time you get to your 40s, you've probably had a career, you've probably had kids, there are varying ages, your parents are getting a little bit older, you've had a stressful job, you may or may not still be in a relationship, you may have gone through that, you may have moved houses several times, in my case, moved houses, moved states multiple times and had multiple jobs. And you get to this point where menopause hits and your hormones, again, as I said, they start fluctuating. And so what do? We go back to what used to work. And I have to say that what worked in your 20s and 30s doesn't work in your 40s. And similarly, what's going to work in your 40s is not necessarily what's going to work in your 50s. And all we're doing is we're adding extra stresses onto our body. Now, estrogen, as well as being a hormone, is a powerful antioxidant. So when the estrogen starts fluctuating, it's going to start affecting your whole body because it has neuroprotective benefits, it has cardioprotective benefits, it can also impact your lung health, all sorts of things. So estrogen generally helps determine where fat is stored. So when it's starting to fluctuate, it can start storing fat in the easiest place, which is your subcutaneous fat, generally around your tummy. Also, you've got changing gut health when you come into menopause. And again, that can be a lot of how you lived your life previously and stress. 5 of the things that we like, well, menopause is a lifestyle thing, and how you go through menopause, a lot will be determined on how you lived your life. Often by the time is, again, we're megally stressed. So when we're megally stressed, if we have high continuous cortisol, our insulin is out of whack. We often have insulin resistance, meaning we don't respond to changing blood sugar levels very well. And insulin is a fat storage hormone. So okay, there's kind of strike two. Also, we're not generally building muscles. So muscles determine how quickly and how well the blood sugar is utilized. It's kind of like your engine. And oftentimes by the time we hit our 40s, we're just not sleeping. We're not sleeping well at all. And something else people don't think about is the state of your liver. If your liver is not healthy, if you are not clearing the excess estrogen that you want to get rid of, if you're not clearing the excess cholesterol through your liver, that can also have an impact on your weight.
Well, that's a lot to think about. And
People often think it's, oh yeah, I'm putting on weight, so I'll just starve myself and exercise like a crazy person and that's going to work. It doesn't work, not when you get to this stage of your life.
so there's another thing that comes up at this stage. I think, why am I feeling exhausted all the time? Is it normal?
Yes, it is, unfortunately. Two things. Menopause, as I said, estrogen is an antioxidant. So when that drops, our levels of oxidative stress increase. And you mentioned this earlier, Margie. Oxidative stress, when it gets out of control, I like to think of it as, a toddler kind of high on sugar who has reached that point of, extreme damage. You know how sometimes they reach that point and they run around and they just smash things. That's kind of what happens with free radicals. That's how I see a free radical. And oxidative stress is just a lot of excess free radicals. So basically, ladies, you've got a lot of really angry toddlers running around your body, smashing things up because they're high on sugar and they're tired and they're just overwhelmed. So that's what happens when we lose estrogen. You get a lot of these excess free radicals. Now that does damage to your mitochondria. Now your mitochondria, your little engines, they take food and turn it into energy for you. But that toddler is smashing up your mitochondria. So your mitochondria are struggling here as well. It can also be because I said you're not sleeping. When we get to our 40s, into our 50s, oftentimes sleep gets out of whack, and that can be for a number of reasons. Because if you're not sleeping, as you know, you're just not recovering. Sleep is our rest and restore time. It's a time for the body to check and see what needs repairing and what doesn't. And cortisol, it can either be too high, which means that you've got too much cortisol for too long, which means your melatonin's not going to come in. Because normally your cortisol will rise in the morning and your natural cycle is it will go towards evening and then it starts declining, and then that's when your melatonin, your sleep hormone, comes in. And then through the night, your melatonin's in control, and then gradually coming towards morning, your melatonin fades out and your cortisol comes in. What often happens is that rhythm, that ratio gets skewed so that you've got a lot of cortisol until late in the evening, which can result in not sleeping well. So think caffeine, think alcohol, think anything that kind of gets your body, like chilies and really spicy food, all sorts of things. And of course, as I said, that blood sugar crash, because normally we're eating crap, we're tired, we want something quick. Look, there's a packet of Tim Tams. I don't know what the Kiwi equivalent is, but there's a packet of Tim Tams. Great, I'm going to have one of those after dinner, and one after those after dinner turns into a whole packet. And all that's going to do is flood your body full of sugar. Then your insulin's going to go, oh my God, we've got all this energy, but we're not doing anything. I've got to store it somewhere quick. Let's put it in the fat. And we don't sleep because we've got all this going on in our body. Like I said, I can talk about this a lot.
Sharon, you make it sound so easy, but there's such a lot in what you said. With all of that you've already said, what are some of the key lifestyle changes that I can make or we can make to feel better during this perimenopause and menopausal stage of our lives?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, it really does, for the most part, it comes down to your lifestyle. So as it says here, look at what you're actually eating. Not only that's the food that's on your plate, but also your plate of life. And this is often how I work with my clients, is you've got your primary food and secondary food. Your primary food is dictated by your life, your career, your family, your social network, your creativity, your moments of joy, all of those sorts of things. And oftentimes, if your primary food, your plate of life, is not a happy one, then it doesn't really matter how good your secondary food or your plate of food is, because this plate will always outweigh this plate. But it is important to make sure that the food you eat will support your body as best it can. So good, healthy protein, often if you can, grass-fed. But I always say do the best that you can do at the time. Healthy fats, lots of fiber to keep your gut happy, and keeping your cells happy as much as possible. So keeping that toddler inside, keeping them calm. Strength, as I mentioned, muscles are a really big thing when it comes to putting on weight. So, and often when we go on these crash diets, all we're losing is actually muscle mass and fluid. So making sure, and I would say weight, don't get so hung up on the numbers. Think about how you feel. Think about the clothes. Think about the energy that you have. That's way more important than a number on the scale. So walking, yoga, anything that is going to build your muscles and bone density, that is a key one, bone density. Get your stress under control. Yes, it can be hard. I know it can be completely shitful. It can take over your life. It can be, I cared for my elderly father for 5.5 years before he went into a nursing home. The stress of, going to bed every night. And my last thought would be, I wonder if Dad's going to live through the night, because he had multiple health issues. My first thought on waking in the morning is, oh my God, is he still alive? And then I'd hear him coming down the corridor and I'd be like, okay, he's still alive. Let's get on with the day. So what can you do to bring that stress back down? The deep breathing, taking 5 minutes out in the garden, sitting in the sun, having a cup of tea, calling a girlfriend and having a laugh. And a healthy gut is a healthy body, because your gut's going to talk to your brain. So if you're having mood swings and brain fog and just feeling like you're going to punch the throat out of whoever's coming to the door next, look to your gut. Oh, the other thing too is look after your liver. So lots of cruciferous vegetables, leafy greens, watch the alcohol and the caffeine and those sorts of things, but always show your liver some love as well.
Awesome, Sharon.
I think we've pretty much covered oxidative stress, Sharon. Do you think with the little toddlers running around inside you, and oxidative stress is caused by everything. You can't get away from it. It is something that affects every single person on the planet, and it is caused by pollution, the way we treat our bodies, the food we put into it, the air that we breathe, the stress we put ourselves under. So it is the reason that we age, and it's almost like if you take a bite out of an apple and you put it on the counter and it goes brown, that is what's happening inside our cells. So when Sharon was talking about oxidative stress, this is what she was talking about.
Well, as I said, your mitochondria are damaged by a whole number of things, especially the increase of oxidative stress. The increase of oxidative stress, I suppose the way and the information's there, but it's kind of like, let's just say that it's going to impact all of your systems and exacerbate it. Now, as you said, we all deal with a level of oxidative stress, but if you can keep it to a level that your body can manage naturally, because all your body ever wants to do is keep you safe, keep you alive. You're no good to your body dead, so it wants to keep you alive. So it has tolerances, and oftentimes where the problems come in is we go way past those tolerances. So by keeping everything down into what the body naturally can deal with, what it can naturally tolerate, it's going to help everything, and that includes your menopause.
Wonderful, thank you. So as we've mentioned, we have been talking about a couple of products that are natural and are able to help in these situations. And Sharon will talk through some of these that are her favorite product. But we are the activation company. We're the only company in the world that is able to definitively prove and show that we can change gene expression and actually help the cells. So this is where it all started in about 2003. There was ABC went out to debunk what the company was saying they could do. And through this, they actually found that it did work. If you want to see that video, please get back to the person who invited you and they can share it with you. There are a couple of different options there, so you can have the extended one or the short version. So we have become the company that is take it to make it. So what that means is you take something which is an all-natural product and you make something which is generally an antioxidant or collagen or so those kind of things. Right, so here we go. Sharon, if you can do your favorite products. Here we go.
Most of these products are going to help you in some form or other, and I always do good, better, best. These are obviously top shelf. These are the best things, and because I love them because they're all natural, they work on anti-aging pathways, but they reduce the oxidative stress. So it means that your gut health is going to be happier. Your cells are going to be happier. The NRF1 Synergizer is one of my favorites because that helps your poor little mitochondria, which are struggling. And also the NAD, it's kind of is like I call it the CEO of the cell. So it controls everything. It cleans all the gunk out and it makes sure that everything works properly. Altogether, they work to help your body deal with the day-to-day stresses. And then when you add menopause on top of that, you can just deal with menopause way more easily because you don't have all of this stuff going on in your body.
If you guys would like to take a screenshot of that, please feel free. Each one is specifically targeted to deal with what people feel during menopause and perimenopause.
Even just taking the
products and bring the
NRF2
body
Synergizer.
back in balance. And that, I think, is the most important thing. During menopause, our bodies are not in balance. And by being on these three amazing activators or the synergizer, our bodies come back in balance. So less of those symptoms occur.
I will jump in here, Margie, and I have a real thing about people talking about hormonal balance. There is no such thing as hormonal balance. Our hormones fluctuate naturally. Our insulin, our cortisol fluctuates naturally depending on what's happening in our lives. So really it's more about, remember I mentioned the tolerances, it's bringing them back into where the tolerances where your body works properly, where it's happy. And that's different for me, it's different for Bridget, it's different for you, Margie. Our body's tolerances to certain things are all very, very different. So balance is not quite right, but these three certainly will help bring all of those various areas back down to our body's natural tolerances so that everything else around it just works beautifully.
Right. Activated Essential, I think the only difference this one would be the ProBio, which is ultimately for gut health.
This is my favorite one. I actually was introduced to the company through the ProBio. I was studying an advanced course on hormones and we were doing a deep dive into gut health when my girlfriend rang and told me, and she showed me the ProBio, and I took one look at it and went, holy moly, get me some of this back. So this is beautiful because for menopause, it helps to support your gut. Because remember I said that your gut, your microbiome is going to go through various changes. Again, estrogen is an antioxidant. You take away that protective effect. And a lot of these other areas, including your gut, are going to struggle. So you've got the gut support, you've got the mitochondria, those little energizer bunnies are going to be happier, and you're reducing all the cell stress that's going on. So this is my absolute favorite, this one. And this one, well, I'm going to say it's another favorite because the liquid collagen. So one of the things that nobody talked to me about was musculoskeletal health as I aged. And a couple of years ago, I found out, kind of by accident, because I was looking at something else, that I actually have osteoporosis at the grand old age of, I think I was 62 then, which came as a bit of a shock. I don't mind telling you. And I refused to go onto their pharmaceutical drugs. And this was just as our liquid collagen was released. So I gave myself a year on these just to see. And to my surprise, at the second scan, I won't go through the whole story, but through the second scan, it showed that my bone health was actually, the density was actually improving. I had not lost anything. I had, in fact, actually gained. Now, not a huge amount. I wasn't suddenly back to normal, but the scale was going in the right order. So for your skin, I mean, I'm going to be 64. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me? Because I'm going to be 64, okay? Skin, hair, my nails are stronger than ever before. Bone health, muscles, all this flabby skin that I had here, because again, nobody spoke to me about muscle health. It's all tightening up again. So I can't choose between them, but this is a really good stack to get onto.
Absolutely, because it's so great for joint, bone, hair, nails. I think it's also very good apparently for the gut. So it's quite because your collagen is in 80% of the body or 90% of the body or something like that.
Without collagen, you're going to actually be a pile of goo, effective, because you think of all of your connective tissues, ligaments, muscles, skin, all of these things, your eyes, your brain, hair, all of these things need collagen, and it depletes. It's one of those fun things that depletes naturally as we age. And of course, once we hit menopause, that depletion just speeds up, which is, another sucky reason or sucky thing that happens when you go through menopause. The beautiful thing about this one is we take it and it makes our own collagen, and what your body produces is far more powerful than anything you can take. Supplements are great. They have their place, don't get me wrong, because, nutritional deficiencies will make your menopause worse. Ladies, vitamin D, critical. Get your levels tested. And if it's okay by the doctor, just call me, because okay is not good. You want optimal. Anyway, the liquid collagen, it makes your own. So it's going to go through more of your body than just the normal collagen that you buy in the supermarket or wherever.
Thank you. And then my favorite. So this is the one that I cannot go a day without, because I would not have a clear head and all the brain fog gone without this stuff. So yeah, nootropic drink that is just next level for me. It is my non-negotiable, along obviously with Protandim NRF2.
Well, the beautiful thing about Axio is it also is full of B vitamins and magnesium, which we're often very short of. And the way it works on the heat shock proteins in the body, which I won't go in depth about, but it actually helps regulate your cortisol. So if you are a mega little stress bunny, adding in NRF2 and Axio will probably change your life.
That's probably why it's changed mine, because I've got, very high cortisol level person. So wonderful. Okay, now I understand why I can't go without it. And then we'll just move on before we end. A lot of you probably have seen or you've heard, but we've got another activator coming through shortly in the next couple of weeks that is important to everyone, and we've all heard of GLP-1. I'm sure that's the buzzword at the moment, and how important having our GLP-1 activated or regulated or supported is going to help with weight management as well as a multitude of other things. So Sharon, did you want to share more on that?
Oh, well, as you guys have probably gathered, there's a lot I can share and there's a lot I can say to this. And I'm looking at the time thinking I've probably spoken way too much. But again, GLP-1, the science is blowing out. People are really excited about it, and for very, very good reason. It's just another one of those processes within the body that we kind of didn't really know about. And we have a number of hormones that are involved in our digestive processes, like ghrelin and leptin. GLP-1 is one of them, but GLP-1 is so much more because it is right across your body. You've got receptors in your brain, your heart, your liver, your pancreas, all over the place. And as I said, science is going crazy. There is a huge amount, but when it comes to menopause, it's going to work because it's going to help your gut-brain axis. So the messaging, the moods, the crazy won't be there. It's going to help your cravings. It's going to keep your weight under control. And oftentimes when our weight gets out of control, we get even crazier. We eat worse. We know we shouldn't be eating what we're eating, so we beat ourselves up. And as women, we go through these cycles of self-flagellation because we're so weak, we're useless, we can't do anything. I mean, honestly, and don't get me wrong, I used to do it. So this will help so much with that. It will allow you, if you make the lifestyle changes around it, to have a very happy, healthy body.
Wonderful. So yes, this is just a quick slide just explaining our concept around take it to make it. You take the mind-body system and you make GLP-1 and what that does for your body. And just a little bit of information around the figures in New Zealand and Australia around obesity, people trying to lose weight, and how important it is. I mean, it's a huge, huge industry, and it's a huge, huge thing that every single one of us feels. I know I have been, for so long, so embarrassed about my stomach because I have been asked over and over again if I'm pregnant, and I had my daughter 23 years ago. So yes, it hasn't been a fun thing, but what I have noticed after being on this product is that my stomach is finally coming down, and I can't see it past my breasts anymore where I could before. So, and I'm fitting into my clothes much better. So it is, and I haven't changed. The product has changed my life. So that is I just wanted to share a little bit of information around that. Yeah, some figures for the American product, just that it increases on average 140% the average weight loss. But most importantly, there's 100% you maintain muscle. As Sharon said earlier, when you lose weight, predominantly it's your muscle that goes and your fluid in your body. But here it is completely 100% maintained. And then most importantly is the visceral fat, the very bad, unhealthy fat that is around your organs, that reduced by 27%. So that's wonderful. And this was just a bit of info on what people experience. So 85% felt less hungry, 90% ate less at meals. So your portion control is coming down. And none of this was intentional. These are just things that people, once your GLP-1 activates naturally, you will automatically, your body tell you when you're full. It'll also stop you from snacking, so you won't spend as much money on snacky kind of foods and junk foods. I've found that we don't eat takeouts. When last did I have takeout? I can't even remember. Whereas before, it would at least show up in my house once or twice a week just because I was too exhausted to do anything. And then here's just some before and after photos of some wonderful people that we know. As you can see, these are just amazing results on these products. And I mean, we met Marcy in Australia a couple of weeks back, and she is just phenomenal. I mean, she looks amazing, absolutely amazing. If you feel that your gut needs to be primed or your gut is unhealthy, these are the products that we suggest you take, because these are the ones that are going to help with balancing your gut. So it's just the New Zealand price and then the Australian price. And currently we do have a 15% discount. Wonderful. So thank you everyone again for joining us. I hope it's been valuable. I really appreciate everyone joining us. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Margie. And thank you everyone for your time and for tonight.